dog sight. Tell me been in that living room all white. I'm up all night, season ends while niggas sleeping. Lost so many guys, guess why I'm breathing. We keep it strong as the name live on, like if they was never gone. Mind blown, and need them out ever since.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Grit Culture. Please like, share, subscribe. Subscribe. Let's get into it. So I don't know if everybody's aware. I've realized ESPN hasn't talked much about it. Well, not on their shows. Not a lot of people that I know of were aware of this, but the whole little debacle that happened probably about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago with Bishop Sycamore, the school that doesn't exist. So apparently these guys had got a nationally televised game on ESPN against another well-known high school. I forget what the name of those guys were. But this is supposed to be a matchup between two teams that had a lot of highly rated college prospects. And when the game aired, when the game took place, it was clear that Bishop Sycamore, these guys weren't who they said they were. I mean, it's embarrassing. Not only did they get beat 58-0, but these folks look like they had never played football a day in their life. Got completely destroyed. I mean, it was just all over the place. The way they came out the tunnel. They're out there sharing equipment, which I'm pretty sure isn't safe, especially during these times. It's just a complete failure. And so, after doing a little digging and seeing who these guys was, it comes to find out that they're not a school at all. They're not who they say they are. They don't have the 5-star recruits like they say they do. And even worse, they're all in their early 20s and late teens. A lot of them JUCO dropouts. So you got older guys playing high schoolers. Now, they're not too much older, but still. So how does something like this happen, especially with something, a big-time publication like ESPN? How do they not go through the process of at least vetting out and seeing, who they're actually televising and putting on the national stage? Now, this happens all the time in sports. It's happened in boxing before. Forget that girl's name, old girl who they had booked, fighting at the MGM, and she was booked as, undefeated, I think champion. I know she was undefeated. At least that's what they had her as. Like 16-0 or something. And come to find out, she had never boxed a day in her life, and they had found her off of the streets. And even worse, you can find her stats today on boxingrec.com. It doesn't say nothing, no undefeated. Of course, she got destroyed in that fight, embarrassingly. But her boxing record is, I think she's only won like 2 out of 10 fights in her career, which it looks like that was her first one, and she went on to have some more boxing matches, getting her ass kicked. But nonetheless, she was billed as, a tough competitor. And so, yeah, the coach had a warrant for fraud out for his arrest. I mean, all type of stuff. how they were able to do all of this is just don't know. It's beyond me. The Ohio governor said he's going to put an investigation into the organization. They initially said they were a school and a nonprofit. They were a nonprofit organization and they had a small school. Then they couldn't be found, didn't have any information, couldn't find them anywhere in the Ohio school, education database. Somehow they got registered in, the Texas Christian schools or something like that. Hell, they even, 'cause I'm down here in Dallas, that's where I'm just at right now. One of the teams, Duncanville, was scheduled. They were on the schedule. It looks like what this team has been doing has just been, each high school team has to take, some non-conference, different games to fill up their schedule for all their games outside of their, all the teams that are in their conference or district that they're going to play. And so it looks like what this Bishop Sycamore team was doing was just filling up their schedule full of all of these non-conference games and all these teams who needed to fill that obligation for themselves. So it was a mutual type of thing. But how the hell did they get on ESPN? Especially given the fact that, from what I'm seeing from their record off of maxpreps.com, which is like a high school database for different sports, they hadn't won at all. Their first two games, they got their asses kicked 38-0 in the first, and then 19-7 in the second one. They only scored one touchdown. And then given this 58-0 ass kicking, they scored one touchdown in 3 games from a supposed team full of 5-star recruits. There's a whole bunch of stuff going into this, and apparently the coach who's now fired, the coach and the 3 other guys who were all a part of this, they had tried this scam years before and it fell through. Just shows you, man, these different these different media sites and stuff that we christen as the gold standard, like Joe Biden said during his speech the other day, referring to the FDA or a couple weeks ago. The gold standard. That's how we look at a lot of these different media sites. If we don't see it on mainstream media, it's not official, right? The folks are just as flawed, if not more flawed than the everyday man. They're just in it for the money. Journalism, all type of stuff is gone out the window. You see what ESPN does on a daily basis. They talk about, stuff. They push a narrative on their channel, which, they got to do to get the ratings. They're going to make LeBron look good, 100% of the time. If that's what they got to do to get the ratings, that's what they're in it for. They're in it for the money. At the end of the day, it's all sports, it's all entertainment. But, it's like that all throughout the media networks. That's why you have these networks that play these partisan games. Shit, who was that? It was a Rolling Stone. They got caught putting out fake news. From a report that the hospital in Oklahoma was overfull and had no beds for gunshot victims because there were people who were being poisoned, being treated for poisoning from taking ivermectin from the to treat the COVID-19. And that turned out to be a complete lie. The doctor was unverified. The doctor that they got the information from was unverified. Turned out to be a complete lie. The hospital had to come out and denounce that, right? But they all ran with it. Just like they're running with the, I'm not saying take any of those type of drugs or anything like that. The best thing to always do is to be healthy. 80% of the folks, about close to 80% of the people who are coming down with, very strong symptoms from all of this, they're overweight, they're out of shape. But back to the story, they tell lies. Just like they're talking about it, us just characterizing as a horse dewormer. It's completely untruthful, right? It's completely untrue. The drug has been won a Nobel Peace Prize, and it gets prescribed for humans for normally for things like worms and different stuff, parasites and other different ways. Now according from what I've read, the different studies and what it would take for it to treat COVID or anything like that would be, dangerous levels, something that can't be consumed by a human being. But nonetheless, like I said, there's a lot of misinformation, and the majority of it's coming from your mainstream media. But they're not getting held to that standard like you are. They don't get blocked off these social media sites, and don't get those fact check, boxes put on their posts on Facebook and Twitter and shit like that. This is crazy. These guys made it all the way to ESPN just to go up there and make a complete fool of themselves. See why ESPN hasn't talked about this like this. Makes them look illegitimate, right? They're supposed to be the number one leading, source of sports in the world. That's what they've always billed themselves, right? Look like Fox Sports is starting to take them over, man. This is a hilarious story, man. Y'all got to see the highlights. The highlights are comical. These guys didn't even have, there was obviously no funding. These guys didn't even have away uniforms. They were wearing black when the other teams were wearing black and other teams wearing purple and shit like that. It's embarrassing. Let me know what you think in the comments section, man. Tell me if you saw this, and I will holler at y'all later, man. Peace.